Hi, my name is Steve Gaskin. I have the privilege of being a DCI in the Metropolitan Police Service. I'm really proud of the fact that I do a huge amount of work in universities, schools, and colleges. And what I've done is I've taken our great subject of psychology and worked out some enrichment experiences to show students, GCSE, A level, BTEC, undergrads, what is it that you can do with this great degree or qualification once you've finished it. So there's just a quick bit about me there with some testimonials. Let's not bother about that. But let's move straight into some of these criminal psychology sessions. Well, we start off with there's a number of different experiences, and mainly during the lockdown, as I wrote most of these, of course, I lecture all over the United Kingdom and abroad as well. So you can see this four on there, extreme psychopaths and serial killers, and that is to explain to students how psychopathy can, or most importantly, can't affect criminal cases. We look at British serial killers. What is the scale? What is the difference between us and other Western countries, such as the United States? We look at women who kill, and you need to hear me clearly here that across the planet, women kill less. But what we look at is the motivation. Secondly, on that vein, we look at children who kill. And that is really, really interesting. And I found over the years that in homicide or murder cases, children seem to get heavier sentences. So moving on from that, we've got serial killer couples. Is it the case that particularly where there's males and females, that the females come under the spell of the male? Then looking at the world's worst murderers, and of course this is quite subjective, what do you consider to be worse? But what I've been able to do is to categorize most murder serial cases, so you can look at this. This has attracted a huge amount of attention recently, and that's that fine line between what is a missing case or what is a murder case. That's quite interesting. And then, of course, Lucy Letby, at the time of recording this, she is on trial again. Why is it that a very, very intelligent nurse who was seen as a role model to other nurses has committed these offences? The murky world of psychopaths, that never fails to give a very, very good account to students of this word psychopath and indeed sociopath is bandied around. And so what we do is look at the truth there and see how psychopathy is measured. Is your boss a psychopath? That's probably for corporates, but again, that's interesting. Arson, again, there's some really interesting psychology around that. Why is it that people set fire to things apart from insurance claims? Stalking in the dark mind, unfortunately, stalking in the United Kingdom is becoming a real problem. It's increasing, and that stalking can be live, it can be over the net. And I give students a real grounding in what is going through the minds of people that are stalking others. A terrible, terrible crime. Moving on here, psychology of aggression and violence. Of course, you'll be teaching that. However, what I can do is to give some really, really interesting examples. These are here, I suppose, are slightly off the wall, is looking at the psychology of blackmail, personality and behaviour. So what I like to do is to introduce students to psychometric testing. Again, a word that's bandied around. And finally, a dissertation I did at uni some years ago was looking at the psychology of bite marks. Why is it that people bite each other at crime scenes? It's absolutely fascinating. Offender profiling, that is definitely my major skill. I've spent hundreds of hours studying this, and I'm just about to deliver an offender profiling extravaganza, which will show people exactly what offender profiling is. And also, I'm going to introduce some recent studies to look at the effectiveness. I've actually created an offender profiling kit for teachers to deliver at BTEC and A level. Rise of gangs in the UK. I'm going to whip through this quickly now. Inside Broadmoor, and then poisoning, the hidden killer. Why is it that people go out and do that? And then getting towards the back end here, the psychology of victims. Why me? When I was a serving police officer, I had the opportunity to either anecdotally or scientifically ask street robbers, excuse me, muggers, why do they do that? One of my daughters that I have the privilege of working with said there seems to be a rise in the methodology of people being murdered and placed into suitcases. So we thought we would have a look at that and see why that is. Cold case investigation there, how a 48-year-old serial murder cold case could be solved. And this is the hardest thing I've done in my working life. So moving on, we do a number of courses, which are extended modules. We can either give those to you to deliver in schools, we can come in, or we can do it virtually. There is a cost to most things that we do. Inside the Mind of a Murderer, I've got some absolutely brilliant material that I can, inside the Mind of a Murderer, that I can show you there. Inside the Mind of Adolf Hitler, that's not looking at any military strategy or anything like that. That is looking at what was going through that person's mind. This course here is called Introduction to Forensic Psychology, Taking Off the Mask, and we look at those four aspects there. My favourite is lies and lie detection. And then the rise of predatory offenders. That is a big problem here in the UK. Generally speaking, crime is going down, but this is not going down at all. Nearly at the end here, we've done this here. This was something that we've done many times in schools. This is an 8-hour, 4 times 2 hour consecutive sessions looking at those aspects there for an introduction to crime scene investigation and forensic science. So slightly different from the psychological angle. So that is it really. Thank you very much for listening to me on this very, very short video. You can see there, if you want to contact us, that's how you can do that. I'd love to have a chat with you to see if we can help you with delivery for students to enrich their experience that clearly you're already giving them. Thanks very much for listening.